Good evening, everybody. This is Norberto Spangaro from the Doral Community Coalition. Thank you for being with us tonight. I'm presenting now Rick Cora, President of the Doral Community Coalition. Rick, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, guys. My name is Rick Cora. I'm the president of the Doral Community Coalition. For years, this organization has been devoted to the residents of Doral, sustaining good governance and dealing with important issues, from pushing the park investments and developments, fighting inappropriate development, along with many other issues. The Covanta processing facility has been one issue where the DCC has been extremely active. We've attended meetings, met with legislators, and initiated specific legal actions. This afternoon, you'll hear from our directors about those activities. We'll start with an update from our county representative, Commissioner J.C. Bermudez. Commissioner Bermudez does not need any introduction, and there's no other person who can speak about this matter better than him. Commissioner J.C. Bermudez.
Thank you so much, Rick, Norberto, and the whole team at the Doral Community Coalition. First of all, I'd like to thank the coalition in particular for working and moving forward on good governance, for the city of Doral for so many years, and in particular on this issue where the coalition took the position to take some legal action on behalf of the community. So I'm very appreciative of the fact that you've all done a great amount of work to try to get to the ultimate goal, which is to, number one, move this facility and or close this facility, and then move any future facility. I want to give an update. I want to thank you all for the time to give me the opportunity to give an update as your county commissioner. As many of you know, I'm the founding mayor of Doral. We fought, against this facility for many years. A year before the city was incorporated, this facility was extended for 20 years. Via a contract that was given to the operator. Last year, when I was still mayor of Doral, we were objecting to the facility having an extended contract to the operator. Remember, the facility is owned by the county, but the operator is a different entity. We were successful to a certain extent in the sense that the operator's contract was limited to a shorter amount of period. But unfortunately, in the summer of last year, the former county commission approved not only a report that was requested of the county mayor, but also approved as the new site a plot of land that's directly across from the existing facility as a new site for a new resource recovery facility. My position has not changed. It is the same as it was when I was the mayor of the city of Doral, that the county needs to and should have considered different facilities, not only within District 12, but across the county that would be more economically viable and further away from residents of any community. I applaud the coalition, and I know that some people are not aware of this, but the fact that the coalition was the one entity this past summer that took legal action, to try to make sure that that vote could be reconsidered is extremely important. I am here today to tell you that my commitment continues to be the same. I have met and will be meeting with the county attorneys. I will be requesting that the determination of a future plant being in Doral be reconsidered. I understand, and I think all of us know, that Miami-Dade County continues to grow. All of us know that, the garbage that we produce has to go somewhere. There's a number of facilities within the county and some outside the county, actually, that can obviously fill that role. But the determination that was made when I was the mayor of Doral, which I fully objected to, which was an acceptance of a report and then acceptance of the site, to me is not correct and is unacceptable. So I am working with the county attorney's office to bring that for reconsideration. I hope my colleagues support, at the very least, a reconsideration of the site, because there was never actually any real true vetting process of the future site for any resource recovery facility. As far as the existing site, I will tell you that I'm working day to day with the county. It's very clear that this facility may not reopen, or certainly will not reopen in the short period of time. It's my opinion, not because I'm a Doral resident that lives half a mile from there, but on behalf of not only Doral residents, but those that drive, work, and even those in the town of Medley, there has to be consideration given to not reopening the site if it is not a safe site for all of us. As you are all aware, we are getting, so you know, daily reports, and they're up on the county site. They'll be up on my District 12 site tomorrow, updated daily. The most important thing is the concern about the air quality. And luckily enough, the Environmental Protection Agency, which has been here and came down here probably about 2 days after the facility first had an issue, has been monitoring the facility, and we've been lucky enough that the air quality with rare situations very close to the or within the boundaries of the facility, the situation has been one where at least it hasn't been extremely unhealthy to our community. Hopefully today, I spoke to the fire chief. Unfortunately, we had another fire right outside of Doral today. That's been taken care of. And we also had an incident in the city of Medley that unfortunately occurred that had nothing to do with the county per se, but just unfortunately led to a loss of lives and also led to an explosion. The most important thing for us right now is to make sure that that facility doesn't cause any health problems to the residents. I want to reiterate to the residents of the city of Doral, I have lived less than half a mile from this facility, probably now since 1998. So this has been something that is important to me. It's been important to the prior elected officials in the city of Doral. I hope that it's important to the future elected city officials in the city of Doral. My commitment as your commissioner, not only on behalf of the residents of the city of Doral, but of all the residents of Miami-Dade County, is that number one, we make sure that this facility does not reopen unless it is clearly safe for all the residents of Miami-Dade County, and in particular residents of the city of Doral. And number two, and most importantly, that any future facility that we consider other sites besides the site that has been chosen by the prior Board of County Commissioners, which in my opinion took place in a process that was not appropriate. I want to again thank the coalition for the fantastic job they've done to take that position legally. And it's not easy for residents who are limited in the resources they have to take that position, to go to court, to fight for your rights. And I want to thank the board and all the members of the coalition for doing that. So you have my commitment. It will continue to be there. And I want to reiterate, because I know many times there's some information that isn't appropriately relayed to our residents. This is a fight we've had for many years. The last extension of the contract of the operator took place right before we became a city, and it lasted for 20 years. This new renewal of the contract is much more limited, but more importantly than who operates this facility is where does the future facility go? If we are going to take care of the needs of Miami-Dade County, including waste to energy, then we need to put it in a place that is not near the residential community, whether it's Doral or any other municipality and or unincorporated area of the county, where residents could face a problem like the one that we've faced in the last week or so. So you have my commitment. Again, I thank the coalition for giving me the opportunity to speak to the residents of our city. I want to thank all the residents, by the way, that have reached out to me, not only the ones on the adjacent communities, but also the ones from other communities in Doral that have reached out to get an update and have called me and have sent an email. The most important thing for me as your county commissioner is the same as it was when I became your first ever mayor, to have honest, transparent, and ethical government that always tells the community what decision we're taking, why we're taking that decision, and to do it in the right way. So thank you all very much for this opportunity to speak to our residents. And I look forward to working with the coalition as we move forward, not only on this, but on other issues that I think are very important to the community of Doral as we move forward.
Commissioner, thank you for your words and thank you for your time. Thank you for your efforts and all that you do for this issue. It's so important for our residents. Thank you again. We're going to go over to Norberto Espangano.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Commissioner. If If I can, we have here a couple of questions that have been asked, which I think are fairly important. Brenda is asking whether it is true EPA is no longer doing the monitor and it's being done by a private company paid by Covanta. Do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, Brenda is technically correct. What happens with the EPA is that they do the original monitoring, and then a company that meets their requirements has to do that monitoring. But they're still supervised by EPA. In other words, EPA accepts them as a acceptable provider, and she is correct in that.
Okay.
And we're still getting the same reports as we would get from the original EPA testing.
A couple more. One, he says, Facundo asks, is Covanta covered by sovereign immunity?
That's a great question by Facundo. The property is owned by the county. And being a lawyer, I don't want to give a legal opinion, but I will tell you that I would assume that one could argue that they could be covered by sovereign immunity. But remember that Covanta is not the county. What Covanta does is operate the facility. So operating the facility and owning the facility are two totally different things. So Facundo, it's a great question. I don't want to give you a definitive answer, but my guess would be that unless you're a governmental entity, you're not covered by the sovereign immunity statute.
Okay. And then Lisa says, Commissioner Bermudez, we support you. We know that you care for all residents of Doral. Thank you. Now you have many residents, many that want Covanta out of Doral. Thank you. And they are also asking how they can support. We're going to discuss that later on.
Yeah.
So
I know you're going to discuss it later on, and I want to thank the coalition. The best way to support that, and Lisa, thank you for the positive comments. You know, I'm a Doral resident, as I always tell people, and I've said it during these press conferences. I am probably a half a mile from this facility, so trust me. My family and I are impacted by this directly. The best way to get support is, as we move forward at the county, and the coalition's done this, is, you know, but we can do this as a community, is to bring common sense to this process and to make sure that we consider alternate facilities that are not necessarily close to residents. Now, whether that's in District 12 or another district, I think that's up to discussion. But I believe, as the commissioner of a district that includes the city of Doral and 4 other municipalities and a large unincorporated swath, that there are opportunities to find another spot that is not problematic for the residents of Miami-Dade County. And what I would ask Lisa is, when that happens, please make sure that my colleagues on the county commission know the importance that you as a resident place on this, not only as a resident of the city of Doral, but as a resident of Miami-Dade County.
I think, and I'll ask this question, Commissioner, you're one of 13.
Correct.
We all think you are big and you're going to do a lot, but you're one of 13 who represent other districts. So we all had to be behind you. This is like a pack in rugby and in American football. We had to be behind you because you got 12 people to convince, right?
Absolutely, Norberto. And I will tell you this, you know, it's important that support is there as we move forward. I know the coalition's given it by filing this lawsuit that very few people have known about, but has been filed before this incident occurred. It's very important that everybody remember the coalition filed this lawsuit right after that vote, which I think is very important. I believe my colleagues on the commission, having a relatively new commission or a number of new commissioners that are logical and maybe have not been there as long, in the sense of when I say as long, not committed to just, you know, keeping the status quo. I think they're open to considering different sites and something that is definitely more in the long run, again, better not just for Doral, but also for Miami-Dade County. So what I would ask is, as we do that, and I will ask of the coalition, and Lisa, thank you for the question, I will ask that you please join me. I cannot speak to my colleagues directly on these issues unless I'm in front of them, but I can speak about my point of view on meetings like this. But you can all be my messengers to let them know how important it is to consider a different site. Because truthfully, even though this facility may close, we may still get a site right across the street, because that's what the prior Board of County Commissioners chose. And what I am trying to do is to open that up again for discussion to consider other sites. I am optimistic, and maybe I'm optimistic because, I've had other fights before when I was mayor of Doral, and we were successful. But now I'm in a different position, and I believe that it's still for the benefit of everyone in Miami-Dade County if we look at other sites. And I hope you all join me in requesting that.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. You gave us the right introduction to go to the next subject, which is the legal action, as you well know. So thank you. Thank you very much. I will present now Yvette Gonzalez Petkovich. Yvette is, you know her very well. She was president of the coalition. Now she's a director. She's an attorney, and she has been monumental in carrying this situation with the coalition by presenting and leading the legal action that was taken by the coalition. Yvette will cover two legal actions that were presented much earlier than this fire. It has nothing to do with the fire. Certainly the fire is changing certain conditions. She will explain us why the legal action, what is the status, and what we expect for the future. With that, Yvette, welcome.
Thank you, Norberto. Thank you so very much. It is amazing to be here this evening. And I say that because I'm tapped into all the chats and everything that's going on. I see all the questions that people are asking. I see a lot of comments about legal action and what are we going to do. And I think this is an outstanding opportunity to really have an audience so that all of those in our community that care about this issue and are impacted by this issue really understand exactly where we are at as far as the new facility. And so at this juncture, what I really wanted to do was explain to you, as Norberto mentioned, that there are two legal actions that the Doral Community Coalition took over the past, I would say, 12, 14 months. And so with that, I will go into explaining that. So we'll start with what I think is the strongest action that we have at the moment, and I think the one that we really need to focus on absolutely the most. So as you all know, or most people know, and the commissioner just mentioned it, in July 19th of 2022, there was a vote that was taken at the county commission level where county commissioners decided that they not only that a new facility was going to be built, but that it was going to be built in the city of Doral, just across the street where the current facility is located. I want to give you a little bit of history about that and then tie it up with the legal action that we took. So back in October of 2021, the coalition held a pretty big meeting at Doral Legacy Park where there were about 100 attendees at the time. And at that particular meeting, we brought to the residents' attention that the Covanta service contract was going to expire, or rather it needed to be renewed by the county, and the date to renew that needed to be October of 2022. So we essentially had an entire year to try to convince the county commission not to renew Covanta's contract, or to renew it under different terms that would give us more leeway to potentially negotiate them going somewhere else or doing something else that would ultimately shut this property down or shut this facility down. And so we were incredibly active at that particular time. There was a good amount of support, but admittedly, with everything that happened over the last week, I think the interest and the willingness of the residents to really get involved has gone up exponentially. So what happens? At that time, the coalition began attending multiple meetings at the county commission. We also started a petition that was circulated. We today, once again, with some updates. And so we started attending county commission meetings. Well, at a particular county commission meeting, we came to find out that Commissioner Pepe Diaz had planned to present a resolution to build a brand new facility across the street from the current one. So while we had put a good amount of pressure on the commission to potentially not renew Covanta's lease, our former commissioner for District 12, who, by the way, had been there 20 years, he was there when the Covanta contract was approved to begin with. Well, he decided that he was going to present a resolution to build a new one just across the street from the old one. This occurs in April of last year, 2022. The city of Doral actually had an emergency meeting the day before to just educate people and make certain that people understood exactly what the county commission was doing. We had a number of residents who attended that county commission meeting in April. There are other groups that have been very active on this issue as well that attended that meeting. And at that particular meeting, we had a small victory that kept us alive, if you will. And that small victory was that through the work of our former mayor, now our county commissioner, and our city council, they were able to put some pressure and convince Commissioner. However, at a minimum, we were able to convince the county a new facility would go in the city of Doral, or an alternative facility that has, or an alternative location that has the same permits and the same zoning. And so that kept us alive. Because forgive me if my camera is going off. At the same time, Mayor Levin Cava was tasked with putting together a report that would eventually come back to the county commission 60 days later. That is the Arcadis report, and that report is not only on the Doral Community Coalition website, but it's also been circulated through a number of the chats. Well, the county commission said, okay, we're going to order this report. The report costs upwards of $250,000. A company called Arcadis put it together, and their job was essentially to identify all the possible locations in the city of Doral where a new facility could be built. So fast forward 60 days after that April commission meeting, there was this meeting on July 19th, 2022. At that particular meeting, I attended it. A number of other coalition members attended. There were other activist groups that also attended that meeting. And really, that meeting was just for the county to publish the report. The report was upwards of 200 pages long. And so what we expected to happen on that day was just for the report to be published. What actually ended up happening was that the report was presented, and pretty much right after, the county commissioner pulls out a resolution that was already written to decide that the new facility would go in the city of Doral. And that's it. It seemed like the decision had been completely done, and there was really no opportunity for anybody to speak on it. Nobody knew that this vote was going to take. And really, the worst part was that the vote was completely unanimous, except that the report had just come out to the public. And really, the report had only been published to the commissioners July 11th, 8 days earlier. And remember, as the commissioner just stated, the commissioners aren't even supposed to they're not allowed to talk to each other because of sunshine law violations. So we were all just flabbergasted that this had actually occurred. And it really felt like something inappropriate, illegal occurred. Well, what did the coalition do as a result? Many in the community felt that we had lost a battle and that was it, and that they were going to put a brand new facility across the street from the old one, and the fight was done. Well, the coalition, through my law firm, we did our research, and what we did was we filed a petition for an injunction to be entered against the county to prevent the county from moving forward with that vote. Why? Because, and this gets a little bit technical, there is to the commission a decision on what that report addresses, or a vote on what that report addresses, cannot be taken on the same day that the report is being published. Well, that's exactly what happened in this case. There was a report, it was published, and then a decision on what that report covered was made by the county commission. However, that was illegal. They were not allowed to do that. And so the coalition, again, through my firm and me as the lead attorney on the case, requested from a Miami-Dade Circuit Court judge to enter an injunction preventing the county from moving forward on that vote because they violated their own rules of procedure. And just to give you a little bit of background, the reason why those rules are there has a lot to do with due process, the right to be heard, the right to go before the county commission and explain different things, the right for us to have seen the report and had an opportunity to comment on the report. Everything was done at the speed of light, incredibly fast. And I'm going to be super transparent with you all. I believe it was done that way in hopes that this would all be done underneath our noses, that we wouldn't catch anything of what was going on, and that everybody would say, you know what, it's done, the fight is over. Well, the reality is that County Commissioner Jose Pepe Diaz did not count on the coalition, on me, and on a number of residents from the city of Doral who have been fighting actively on this particular issue. So that particular injunction was filed in September of last year. In addition to asking the court to enter an injunction to prevent them from moving forward with building this facility in the city of Doral, across the street from the old facility, the lawsuit also demands that the court make a determination, declare that the vote that the county commission took was illegal. And if that occurs, then we go back to the drawing board, and I'm hopeful that everybody that cares about this issue will show up to the county commission and ensure that you take advantage of your right to be heard, which is, among other things, a lot of what we are currently fighting for. And so I do want to explain the status of that case right now. So we filed it in September. The county commission responded, the county attorney's office responded, filed a responsive pleading, is how they refer to it, to our injunction, asking the court to dismiss it. The claim in their motion to dismiss has to do with, they are saying there is, under the rule where you cannot, if there is a report that's in front of the county commission, you can't take a vote on whatever the report is addressing at that meeting. There is an exception to the rule where if the county commission decides and takes a vote, they can actually move forward with it. Now, that did not happen on the record. Commissioner Pepe Diaz did not put a vote or a motion in front of the commission asking whether they could amend the rules or bypass the rule to then vote on this issue that had been just presented to the commission in a report. That didn't actually happen. However, the county attorney's office is arguing that because the vote was unanimous, there was no need for there to be an actual vote to determine if they will make an exception to that rule. It is our position, and we feel strongly about it, that when you read the rules, it specifically states that you have to expressly take a vote to change the rules of procedure, and that did not occur. And so in addition to that, the county commission also argued, the county attorney's office also argued that we didn't have standing to bring this lawsuit. A lot have asked me, well, what impact does the fire have on this particular lawsuit? Well, without a doubt, it completely knocks their standing argument out of the water, because we have now actually suffered an injury as a result of this particular fire that has occurred. So it is now a non-issue that we are absolutely impacted by what happens at this particular facility. And in addition to that, I do think that the fire and the impact that that's had on our city, I think that that will absolutely be presented to the judge. And with that, the judge, I believe, will understand why it was so important to do what we're really asking the county commission to do. The report, the Arcadis report, why is that report so important? That report is important because that report actually outlines a number of sites that could potentially be used for a new resource recovery facility / garbage incinerator. Of the dozens of sites that it identified, they actually boiled down all those sites to 4 viable ones. One is the current facility across the street from where Covanta is at. There's another facility that's in Medley. Both of these are facilities that are zoned and permitted as required by law. As I said, there's another one in Medley, and then there are 2 other ones that were also referenced but were automatically knocked out primarily because they go beyond the urban development boundary line. And for those of you who may not know, the UDB is basically a line that's established by the county commission that nobody can build past that line. However, a little footnote, the county commission did decide to move that line for purposes of building a commercial property. However, I'm not going to get into all of that, but if they were willing to move it for that, and I'm not necessarily proposing that it needs to be moved for this purpose, but it just goes to show how little attention and how little value the residents of Doral have been given with this particular issue. And so where we stand right now is the county attorney's office responded to our complaint with the injunction and declaratory relief. I already explained to you what their arguments are. They believe they had the right to do what they did. They don't believe that they broke any procedural rules. They don't believe that we have standing or the right to sue. And so the coalition responded to their response, essentially saying, you're wrong. Just because the vote was unanimous, it doesn't mean that you actually followed the procedure and took a voice vote. And actually, all the commissioners are on record saying they were willing to change the rule so that they can actually vote on this item. And so currently, the county's motion to dismiss is set for a hearing on March 20th of this year, 2023. The meeting, or the hearing rather, will likely be via Zoom. The coalition absolutely wants each and every resident that can attend this particular hearing to attend. It is incredibly powerful for the court to see how important this issue is for so many residents of Miami-Dade County. And remember that our judges are elected, they're not appointed. And so you elected whoever that judge is that is on the bench. And so it's important that everybody attends. And if we're able to do it in person, we will definitely notify you all so that you can attend this particular hearing and offer some support to me as the litigator on the case, but also to the coalition, to your neighbors, and to the rest of the city of Doral, who desperately wants this facility to finally leave the city of Doral. And so that action is going on. I believe with all my heart and soul that the best way, if we win this action, we win. We get to go back to the drawing board. What we wanted the county commission to do was follow Arcadis's recommendation. Arcadis, in their report, never said, we recommend that the new facility be built in the city of Doral. It never said that. Now, County Commissioner Jose Pepe Diaz made it sound to the rest of the commissioners like that's what Arcadis was recommending. But when you actually read the 200-something page report, at no point did they make such a recommendation. So in a way, he misled the county commission, and that has been pled in our lawsuit that I'm describing right now. What Arcadis wanted to do was do a further study that involved community outreach. And so to me, and this is an argument that I would make, to me, the fire and what occurred is a perfect example of why the county commission failed us and failed the entire county when it rushed to judgment on putting this facility across the street from the current one in the city of Doral. This fire is proof that had they done what Arcadis wanted them to do, and I will tell you, Mayor Daniela Living Cava was also incredibly supportive of pursuing Arcadis's recommendation. She was not in favor of this vote that the county commission eventually took, But as you can see, the county commission has a great deal of power. And even though the county mayor was not in agreement, they still were able to make this decision. And so this fire is proof that we needed to engage in full community outreach and really analyze all the potential setbacks and problems and obstacles and negative impacts that this facility can have on a particular city. Obviously, that was not done because they rushed right through it. And so to me, the fire that occurred last week is really proof that Arcadis was right. There needed to be much deeper assessment of what to do with this particular facility. And listen, I don't want to be disingenuous. It is without question that this facility is a core part of Miami-Dade County's waste management processes. But you know what? We've been telling them for years that they needed to change this. We've been telling them for years that this facility was obsolete. It was not up to par, that it was a danger to everybody in this community. And really, I'm in a position where we should all be telling them, we told you so, and now go and fix it. And so
Yvette,
that's where we stand on that
Yvette,
action.
thank you, Yvette, for this. I have a bunch of people asking here, and I think it's very important because with the fire and now people getting interested, there are a few things that I would like to ask you, and I know some of them we already are working on it. First, do you have a case number?
Yes, I do have a case number.
Okay,
and
we will put a case number in our website so you can all look at it as well as the documents.
Norberto, let's go ahead and also put the pleadings. I believe we already have the complaint up, but if not, we'll put it up.
There is, I think what I've seen from reading the comments is that, and I think you have explained that to everybody, that the more that we join this March 20 hearing, the better we are. So one question which is is done by Doyle is, can the hearing be requested to be in person?
Is what? I'm sorry?
Can the hearing be requested in person?
I believe that we can make a request for it to be in person.
It looks to me from what I hear here, because there is another one, Lisa and Giselle and Melissa and others. I think we should request to be in person, and we'll ask the people, and we got to, somebody said here, we had to invade the courts, and we should do that. No doubt that it makes a lot of pressure. So we will keep you communicate through our email, info@doralcommunitycoalition.com, but through a website and our social media, we will communicate on the March 20. We will request to be in person if possible. And the other question, Yvette, was, can people join legally? So we will can we put in the website, how can people join us in the legal action? I want to mention that Yvette is doing all this pro bono. So it's part of your job with the community, and we really appreciate it. There are a lot of people saying thank you, Lisa, Claudia, Noel, etc. So that's great. We will communicate to you. And as Lisa said, we got to march in front of the judge, or we got to blow Zoom capacity, because we will know about it. And I think it's very important that we act on this, even to we got to think about what else to do with the commissioners, but certainly that's another issue.
We have some ideas. Norberto, I definitely would like to comment on something that I think is going to be helpful for the litigation case that I was just talking about. So I mentioned that we had started a petition back in November of 2021. And in truth, the petition lost a little bit of steam for a number of reasons. However, that petition has been used repeatedly by myself and others in our pleadings, as far as to show how much the residents care about this. The importance about the Doral Community Coalition petition is that we are not focused on any environmental issues. We are not focused on anything else other than moving this facility out of Doral, or the future facility out of Doral. And while me personally, I feel incredibly strong about the environment and whether garbage incineration is the right technology or not, that's a fight for another day. What we are hyper focused on with respect to the coalition is getting this facility out of the city of Doral. And there are a lot of petitions that are circulating, but I definitely want to highlight why the coalition's petition is so important. Let's double it. Let's grow it. We have 80,000 people in this city, and I really would love to get there before the 20th of March.
Perfect.
So we'll continue sharing it.
Dude, some people ask, all this is being recorded and it will be posted also in the YouTube and all, and in our website.
Yes.
Yvette, I don't know whether you didn't. Do you want to comment very quickly on the
Very
permit?
quickly.
Very quickly.
Another action that the coalition took was Covanta has to request a renewal of their air permit. In December of 2021, we actually, now I didn't do this myself because this isn't necessarily my area of law. However, there was we filed what you call basically like an administrative petition asking the Florida Department of Environmental Protection to deny Covanta their air permit because their facility is completely outdated, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This particular action had kind of been trucking along for some time. The coalition was working with the Florida Department of Environmental Protection as a go-between with Covanta and the county to try to come up with what measures do we want the Covanta to take in order for us to withdraw our petition. And so what we ended up doing was we were able to get the Florida Department of Environmental Protection to agree to request that Covanta rebuild or make improvements to all their facilities so that there is negative air pressure technology in the different buildings. We talked about some of the logistical issues with the trucks and the garbage. We talked a lot about putting in devices that record better data so that we can actually figure out where the issues are primarily coming from. Well, my thought process, and I wish I would have been able to speak with the Florida Department of Environmental Protection official that we've been dealing with. Unfortunately, I wasn't. We'll provide an update at some point in the future. Where I believe this matter stands right now is that there is no more facility, and therefore there is no more permit, and so there's no permit to negotiate. Whenever they rebuild, whatever they rebuild, they are going to have to apply for these permits again. And if the coalition needs to get involved and take action with the help of all of those who have now joined in the fight, we absolutely will. But we were attacking the air quality and the air permit for Covanta in an effort to see if somehow give us in both, either reducing the amount of time that their contract was going to be for, or impacting whether or not they are put in the new facility is built across the street. And so we've just been working strategically as best as we can within the resources that we have, because everything is volunteer based, to really try to finally resolve this issue. And as I told many people over the last year and a half, I believe with all my heart and soul, and I know that the members of the coalition are with me, that we can make this happen. And now with all of the excitement, all of the interest, all of the anger and just disappointment with what has occurred in our city over the last week, I think now is the time to make this happen.
Thank you, Yvette. Thank you very much. It was really great. And Donald already has put the case number in the Facebook and in the social media. Great. So
great.
has Claudia. And one of the things you will see in our website also is a letter that you can write to the commissioners. We got to put pressure on the commission. This is outside any control of the city of Doral. It's at the commission level. And those of us who attended the commission meetings, we know what it is. It's dividing the pizza in 13 slices. We only have one, and we're not going to have it unless we put a lot of pressure. So this March 20, we will work on it. In that meeting and previous meetings, we rented buses to go from the city of Doral. If necessary, we'll do the same on March the 20th. And we're going to be there. We had to be there as a unified city. Yvette mentioned something which is very important. We're not here to discuss any major human rights issues or environmental issue out of a big level. We are talking about our dear city of Doral. This is a question that shouldn't be. We're not going to get involved in things that go outside our city of Doral. That's what we got to do. Exactly.
And the coalition is made of Doral residents, by Doral residents, for Doral residents. All we care about is the city of Doral. That's it.
And Pablo Estemari says, how do we organize? We have organized in the past. We will organize for March 20. We'll follow through if you send us an email, we'll put it in our list to info@doralcommunitycoalition.org, also through Facebook and our website. Now, thank you, Yvette. Now what we will do is one of the subjects, Yvette, was to move that to other places and put a new plant. And I have invited, I know one is here, some people who have really visited those new plants, so they can tell us a little bit about what it means, what really is a new plant. Because one of the things we're gonna hear is, don't worry, we're gonna put a new facility, which is great. That's great. Now there are issues there. So we have here Claudia Mariaca and Councilwoman Nina Cabral, who went visited with Commissioner Pepe Diaz those new plans and can tell them what they saw and what they think about it. So I'll add first Claudia Mariaca.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me? You can hear me, right?
Yes, you can go ahead.
Okay.
We can
Perfect,
hear.
thank you. All right, now good evening, everyone. Basically, I wanted to thank Yvette and the entire coalition. Doing this much work is not easy, and doing it just from the goodness of your heart because you care about this community. It shows the type of people that we're dealing with. I would just want to make a quick statement. Over the past few days, during this issue that's been going on at Covanta recently, there's been a lot of questions and information given through different chats regarding different groups that are coming up, different concerns. And my response to everybody has been, guys, join the coalition. They've been working on this issue now for years, and they have the legal and they have the knowledge to help us. The petitions are great, but the petitions have to go somewhere. And Yvette just mentioned it, the petition from the coalition is being used for a presentation regarding the court cases. So this is very, very important. Yes, back months ago when we were talking about the new facilities, and before the report was published and made official, and before that illegal vote was taken, led by the chairman of the county commission at the time, which was Pepe Diaz, I got the opportunity to visit with him and some of my other colleagues the new Covanta plant near West Palm. And we were there with some media, and I actually took aerial shots from our facility and from them on theirs to compare it. It's very difficult to compare apples to oranges. The facility up there is actually located right off the turnpike. There's just one residential area that is a few, I would say at least a mile off from where they're at. And before that, there's a reserve, there's a nature reserve, and then past that, there's a golf course, and then there are some homes. So you're not talking about the same thing as a starting point. Number two, yes, the facility, I would have to admit that the odor is not the same as when you walk into this one. I myself have visited this one, and the odor is extremely potent anywhere around the facility, and you can imagine what it's like inside the facility. So yes, the odor is less. However, they use these huge turbine engines to have the air pulled out and recycled. It's this a negative air flow system that they have, which is great, but we're going to be moving from the smell to noise pollution, because you have a lot of residential, you have a school right there, you have a park close by, and those engines were pretty loud, and those would be running on a constant, constantly, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Remember that these facilities don't close, so they're running all the time. So that means whatever's happening there is an issue all the time, including the weekends. What this past week has shown us is this isn't just about the odor of the facility. This is more than that. And this is one of the things that we have been fighting actively since the contract expired, the 20-year contract expired, as our current commissioner, J.C. Bermudez, explained. Right now, what we want is to build this facility somewhere else. Now, what the county commissioners might tell you or might bring up is the cost. Keep in mind that the county right now doesn't have the money to build any facility. So they're going to have to tax it anyway. I don't think we should be burdened not just with the taxes, but also with having a facility that could potentially have issues like we're seeing this week. This is just not the odor. It's about more than that. You're having an industrial facility, a huge industrial facility in the middle of a residential area. They can't have the excuse any longer that they were here first. They're not here anymore. We can consider this facility basically gone after this fire. So now they're not here. Now they know that this is a residential area. So there's no excuse. I think now, as the coalition has stated, is a time for us to come together, all of us behind the coalition, to petition every other commissioner. We know Bermuda stands with us, and we know that CAVA is trying to do as much as possible. Now it's a matter of convincing every other commissioner. And I'm sure the coalition is going to provide the letters to be sent to them. Try to set up meetings with them if you have the time. Go to every meeting that they have from now until the vote comes up again, and let them know that this is important, that this is not about just shoving something in our backyard because it's convenient or easier. This is about making a decision that's going to affect residents, families, businesses for the next 40 years. So this is not a time to make a quick judgment or a quick decision. This is a time for all of us to come together and tell them, think about what you're going to do. You didn't do it 40 years ago. Now you have the knowledge. Now you have the know-how. And now you can see exactly how plans like this can affect all of us. So they need to move somewhere away from residential. And this is the time for us to stand behind the coalition and do that. I can't hear you.
Thank you very much. I was muted. Now we have I will add to the stream. I don't know whether she has a camera. Councilwoman Digna Cabral, because I know she was visiting also sorry. Digna, I got you here. Excellent. Welcome. But I know, Digna, you have been also visiting the plants, have been involved with these for quite a while, and it would be good if you can give us your views and what do you think, the community can keep doing and going forward.
Well, good evening to all of you. Thank you so much for the coalition for giving us the opportunity to connect with the different residents, even though we're always there and they know that they can reach us at any moment, so we can give them the most accurate information. I know, and I was also part of the coalition many years back, and I know how hard the coalition has always been working together, bringing the community, but more than anything is bringing facts and making sure that the voice of the residents are heard, not just among the community, but also within our governmental, not just the local, but also in the county. So I'm very grateful for that. And today, as the Commissioner Juan Carlos Bermudez, as also Yvette Pekovic has also, Gonzalez Pekovic has also explained, and now Claudia, where we all, as you can see, have the same common denominator, in that this is a fight that is doable, but we have to be united. We have to go through the proper channels, because I understand that there's many that have been frustrated, and sometimes there's misinformation among, and not in a bad intention, but just trying to figure it out, how to be able to be more effective. But the best way is to go through the proper channels and see already what has been done and how the coalition has been working hand in hand with our city, with our residents, and at the same time with other entities, like in this case, the firm of Yvette Gonzalez Pekovic, where she pro bono and her team has been also helping to fight against the decision that was made, unfortunately, recently by the county commission. Something that, like as she says, is doable. This is the time for us to unite and to keep fighting against this.
Thank you, Digna. I appreciate it. And we know we count with you in the city, and we are all together in this fight. And speaking about the city, we're going to close in before answering a comment. Iselma has a comment here that says, according to the EPA requirement, there is a procedure for closing these type of facilities. I'm going to add Yvette to answer this question. If the judge decides to accept our petition and remove the facility from our city, how would the jurisdiction operate in this case? I think, Yvette, the answer here, correct me, is we have not the petition is not to move. The petition is to declare illegal the approval to install a new facility in our city.
So I wish that we had a legal remedy where a judge could say, nope, Miami-Dade County, you own this land, but you cannot build what you want to build on it. Unfortunately, there is no legal avenue to make that argument. What we are asking the court to do is to tell the county commission that was a bad vote on July 19th. That was an illegal vote. You need to go back and you need to do it again. But this time with all of the, listen, Norberto, if I may, there are a lot of people in this community that really were trying to fight this issue, not just as a coalition, but as residents, people from the Landmark, people from Modern, people from all the areas that are most close to this facility. And it was very difficult for us to mobilize hundreds of people, even though we knew that hundreds of people really cared about this issue. And that is why I think that this time around, if we get the opportunity to go back to a new vote, we need each and every one of the people that have been, on these chats, responding, doing their homework, and helping out to attend. And I think it's going to make a big difference with the county commission. And I think it could make also a big difference with the county mayor. Even though I know that she supports us, the reality is that we need the county mayor to work strategically as well to ensure that all the options are put on the table. And we have a right to know what all of the options are. This whole thing of votes happening out of nowhere without us being told and things not being vetted, that cannot happen again. So our case is about undoing the July 19th vote and putting us back to where we were at when they decided to build a new facility. Where is the facility going to be built? That is what we're asking for the county commission to be forced to reconsider. Good.
Before giving Rick Cora the closing comments, I will add to the stream both Fernando Huritner and J.R. Steinberg, who are residents and part of the coalition. They have any words to say to the people who have attended this meeting. We got a great attendance, and we are gonna keep working. But your commitment and our commitment with the coalition to work on this issue is very important. Fernando.
Oh, thank you, everybody, for all your energy, for all of the work that has gone in behind the scenes. I think it's enlightening for everybody to see how much work has actually been done already on this. I went to the first meeting of the Doral Community Coalition just last week, and I can just see how much it really needs the backing of everybody that's in the community. There's a lot of energy and a lot of comments, and this fire has sparked, for lack of a better word, a lot of outrage for what has happened, and rightfully so. As residents today, I stayed home today with my 14-year-old daughter because she was presenting with sore throat, with itchy eyes, with the wheezing cough, and all these things that other people are reporting as well. This is a wake-up call for the residents to see this action that is legal, has been going on for a while and has a history here, that we back and that we unify behind the major idea, which is we don't want this facility to be built here, this new one that they're proposing. That's our focus. That should be our focus for everybody's energy. There's, like it was said, and it was said in this meeting, there's a lot of other things, the petitions for this and that, and for the technology and for the type of treatment of the trash and what we should be doing. That's all great. Those are all ancillary items that, yes, our community would be better for. And I had mentioned a few times, whoever figures out our future of our trash and how we deal with that is going to be a multi-gazillionaire. That's not what we should be focused on. We need to put our blinders on what is attainable right now with what we have going forward in the best interest of our community. And this is it. This fight that everybody needs to get behind is happening. It's been happening. We just need the bodies behind to show up and support. And that's what's most important. And that's what you see in the social media that I've been seeing with comments, and it all comes down to the same thing. Everybody's outraged about what has happened. Why? Well, this whole thing shouldn't have been happening as long as it happened. This should have been taken care of a long time ago. And the monies, as Claudia Mariaca brought up, yeah, they're going to have to find monies because the trash isn't going anywhere and it needs to be picked up every day in front of everybody's house. People, our focus needs to get on the effect of that garbage that's being picked up to be delivered from all those municipalities here into Doral, 4,000 tons of it on a daily basis. Get it out of here. This is how we do it. Get behind the Doral Community Coalition.
Yeah, you got a point, Fernando. One thing we got to understand is that when there is a new building in Brickell, that garbage has a few trucks coming into Doral to drop it there. That's a reality. There is a question here that says whether there is an investigation on Covanta fire for possible insurance fraud. As Fernando well said, we are concentrated on moving this plant, or better right now, not to rebuild this plant now that it has been partially destroyed in our community. JR?
Hey, yeah, real quick. Thank you all for being on the call. Just to let you know that the coalition has been around for a long time. You know, we've had many issues that we put in front of the city, be it, the different administrations. One that we're very proud that we got involved with is that prior to any project coming up, there is a workshop for the community. And the coalition was one of the groups to kind of put that in front of the city council. And now, if you notice, before there's any event, there is a workshop for all of the community residents to go and express. There's a few of the buildings that we made comments of, and, either the height or the number of units have been reduced because of our involvement. So there's many ways for you all to get involved outside of, right now our big, the big arrow in our quill is the trash and moving that. But there's other things that you all can help us with by being involved with, whether it's, zoning, whether it's traffic, whether it's just community good. We need your help. Thank you, Rick.
You're muted, Rick.
There we are. JR, thanks a lot, bud. Appreciate it. So again, guys, in closing, thanks for the conveyance of information from everybody, from Commissioner Bermudez to Norberto, Yvette. Spectacular job as always. You're our legal hero, and everybody else involved. Boy, I'll tell you what, knowledge is power. Without the conveyance of this kind of information to the residents of Doral, where would we be? We'd be in the same place we were 2 years ago, when an air permit and injunction were subjects of conversation to a small handful of people in the Doral perimeters. Now we're getting more people involved. If we can just keep that going, when we're 40, we're 400, we're 4,000, we're stronger together, right? So let's challenge ourselves to stay focused, like you guys said, on the immediate issue. Let's bring it home. We got to keep going towards the commissioners. We have a motivated mayor in Miami-Dade County, but we have a lot of other people to convince. And we need to do it as collective residents, not 5, 10 people. So I implore everybody to take the motivation that you heard in everybody's voices tonight and motivate yourself, and let's get collective together. So again, thanks again, guys, and thanks for the time.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, everybody. And adding everybody that I can, if it is possible. Thank you very much. I think we have reached a conclusion now that we are all together behind this petition, which is a way to at least stop any movement. So use our website, our social media, our email to communicate with us. We'll send you any information. Anything we do is completely transparent and can be shared with you. So you can get it. We will make sure in the website is a copy of the petition. is a copy of everything, and in the calendar is the meeting on March 20, which seems to me the next day that we're going to be all marching behind one single objective: no more Covanta in Doral. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, everybody. Have a very good night. God bless you.
God bless you. Good night.
Many blessings to